Good evening and welcome to the May version of the Town of Kent Zoning Board of Appeals. Before we begin, please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to remind everyone in the audience that if you do have green cards and return receipts, please remember to present them. And when you come up to discuss your application, don't forget to sign in up at the podium, please. And also keep the mic within the general area of your face so we can, those at home can hear you. Okay, first application up on the agenda is that of Ryan Connor, 2765 Old Route 301.
Hi.
You have your green cards here, sir?
I do.
Bring them on up.
So I have, these are all the receipts, the return receipts, and then these are the cards that I've gotten back so far. I mailed them out about 12 days ago.
Okay.
The majority of the cards got back.
All right, thank you, sir.
So yes, no worries.
All right, Mr. Connor, so why don't you tell us why you're here this evening?
Okay, so I'm here. I moved to Carmel about 2 years ago. There is an existing shed on the property that is now leaning sideways and it will collapse soon. There's no garage or larger shed on the property, so my intentions would be to demolish the existing shed and just place a garage 24 by 24 as it states directly in its place. The current shed is also within the setback. Well, I don't think they got a variance for the shed, but the shed is within 30 feet of the property line. So now that I want to put a garage, I figured I'd try and do it the right way and request a variance for a 24 by 24 garage.
Okay. I'll open it up to the board for commentary.
This is one where we saw the submitted review. We see where it's going. I don't think we had any issue with the setback. There's no electric. Is there electric in this garage?
There is electric currently to the shed. It's run underground somewhere. I bought the house exactly how it is with its current setup. And at some point, once the garage is done, I will end up having the electric obviously brought back into the shed, the garage,
Okay.
rather.
So you're going to keep the current electrical service?
I am going to hire an electrician and I guess maybe I would have to make an amendment to the permit for that. I wasn't really sure. No, okay. But I'll have the electrician pull a permit rather, sorry. And the current reason of putting the garage also where I'm requesting it is because of, if you look on the map, there is a 24-inch drain pipe that is runoff that comes down off the mountain, and it's just not in anybody's best interest or my best interest to put a structure over that pipe. It doesn't have much cover, maybe only 12 inches, and a contractor that I spoke to about doing a 6-inch thick concrete slab also advised me it wouldn't behoove of me to put it on top of the pipe.
Okay, great. And does anyone else have any commentary or questions for this applicant? All right, there being none, do I have a motion to approve this application?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, you can follow up with the building department, sir.
All right.
Tomorrow.
The office is closed. We open up at 8 to 4. No. Huh? You don't have to.
One green card out of 3 back. Okay. One is a deceased neighbor who bought that parcel of property from, which
How did you get them to sign it?
and then Ms. Schoenfeld is here today. Okay. Well, it took us 8 months of being in contract to buy it, so.
I checked it against this. Good, thank you.
Okay, so the next application up on is Biagio and Janice Conti.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board. My name is Frank J. Smith III from the Law Office of Shilligan Smith, attorney for the applicant. I'm joined this evening by Mr. Biagio Conti, who owns the property with his wife Janice. The property is located at 13 Larchmont Road, Carmel. It is known as tax map numbers 33.5-1-37 and 33.5-1-38. The property consists of roughly half an acre when including the vacant parcel and is located in the town's R10 zoning district. The relief requested this evening is dimensional in the form of area variance to retain a shed that has existed for nearly 40 years. The town code requires a rear yard setback of 20 feet. The applicant proposes a setback of 6 inches, requiring an area variance of 19 feet, 6 inches. In support of the application, prior to the hearing, I provided the board with a copy of the survey showing the location of the sheds prior to acquiring the vacant lot, a copy of the survey showing the location of the sheds after the acquisition of the vacant lot, and a copy of the survey showing the proposed final location of the shed we seek to retain. Additionally, I provided the board with a copy of the deed for the vacant lot, a copy of the applicant's merger application, a memorandum of law, and a client affidavit in support. The Contis purchased the property on August 3rd, 1983, nearly 40 years ago. At the time of purchase, a shed was located on the property, and sometime thereafter, the applicant replaced that shed with the one currently in existence. The new shed was placed in the same location as the shed that existed at the time of purchase in 1983. In 2021, Mr. Conti received a violation from the town for lack of building permits for the 2 sheds. My office was retained shortly thereafter. We then discovered that the 2 sheds encroached onto other parcels. The larger shed encroaching onto our neighbor to the rear yard, and the smaller shed encroaching on the vacant lot. We began negotiating for the purchase of the vacant lot, and the applicants also sought an easement agreement from the neighbor to the rear, which was politely declined. The closing for the vacant lot took place on February 9th, 2023, after being in contract for more than 8 months. At the time of purchase of the vacant lot, the applicant also cured many years of past due taxes on that lot. The acquisition of the vacant parcel cured any side yard setback issues that may have existed, and in addition, the second smaller shed was removed in order to accommodate retaining the larger shed. The proposed location also cures the last encroachment issue with our neighbor to the rear, and tonight we're seeking an area variance to retain the larger shed. As the board is aware, there are 5 criteria when considering an area variance. First, and most importantly, whether granting the variance would result in a negative impact to the surrounding neighborhood. Second, whether the need for variance can be obviated. Third, whether the variance is substantial. Fourth, whether granting the variance would result in an adverse environmental impact to the neighborhood. And lastly, whether the difficulty was self-created. For the foregoing reasons, I respectfully contend that the applicant satisfies the criteria and the variance should be granted in all respects. First, if granted, there would be no negative impact to the neighborhood. The shed has been in existence for 40 years this August. In addition, sheds are a permitted and common accessory use in this zoning district. By granting the variance, the neighborhood would be improved by removing an encroachment onto a neighboring property. Second, the need for variance cannot be obviated. Upon learning that the shed's encroached, the applicant took every measure imaginable to solve the issue presented. The applicant acquired the vacant parcel next door in order to satisfy any side yard issues, paid past due taxes on that parcel, and the second shed was removed in order to leave enough room for the larger shed to exist. The topography of the property makes it such that the proposed location is the only feasible location to keep the shed. Third is whether the variance is substantial. In this instance, the requested variance is large. However, the proposed placement, if approved, will solve a number of issues that were previously mentioned. There are no longer any encroachments onto the vacant parcel, which we now own, and it would remove the encroachment onto the neighboring property to the rear. Fourth, there will be no negative impact to the environment. As previously mentioned, the shed has been in existence going on 40 years, and granting the variance, no environmental change would occur. Lastly is whether the difficulty was self-created, and in this case, I contend that it was not. When the applicant purchased in 1983, a shed was already in existence in the same location. Relying on that shed's location, the shed was replaced, and following the issuance of the violation, the applicant has taken every step imaginable to retain the shed within the letter of the law. Based on these factors, I respectfully contend that when weighing the criteria of the area variance, the benefit to the applicant does not result in any detriment nor adverse consequence to the surrounding neighborhood, and it should be granted. I thank you for the opportunity to present, and Mr. Conti and I are available for any questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here present that would like to speak on behalf of this application? Okay. We had a chance to review the application, and a question that we have, or what we would like to, for your client to consider, is we'd like to see a 2-foot setback. So the variance would be for an 18-foot variance and a 2-foot setback, reason being we want ample room to move around the structure.
Understood. I think Mr. Conti will be able to explain a little bit better than I could. I've been to the site. Where the shed is currently positioned, it's going to rotate to be parallel on the back with the vacant lot and then also parallel with that rear property line. My understanding is that if it were to move any further than the 6 inches, it would require excavation work to go on. That's something that we're obviously looking to avoid. But if there's anything you can add, I think that would be helpful.
Well, one of the things we thought was to get access to the back of the shed, I don't have to go to the rear property. I could go to the middle.
Well, is that, in your opinion, is that possible to give get a variance of 18 feet with a 2-foot setback? That shouldn't propose any hardship or a detailed excavation or anything like that, am I correct? If there is, let us know.
Well, there is, because if I move it, then there's a hill next to the shed, and I have to excavate the hill in order to get the shed there. I mean,
Even to move it just a 1.5 foot more? We're only asking for 1.5 foot
Right.
more coming toward away from the
I
boundary.
could measure it. I might be able to get passed by.
I mean, you've done a great job representing your client, and so I want to say that right off the start.
No,
And we did look at this, and again, we all kind of just felt that 6 inches is still very, very tight, and since you're moving it anyway, if you could just eke a little more out of that to give it a 2-foot clearance, which would be an 18-foot variance, we would oblige the request with no other
So we
issue.
just think 2 feet then?
Understood.
From there.
So if that would work for you, the board would be willing to give you that variance.
To do it, yeah.
Okay?
Great. So I'm going to note it on the application,
Okay.
and so
2-foot setback. 18-foot variance granted. Just curious, I know you closed on 2/9. Have the properties been merged already?
So a merger application was submitted. That was also included in the proposal. I have not received anything from the assessor's office to say that they have been merged as of yet.
Okay, just curious.
All right, now, do I have a motion to approve this application under the condition that is it approved, it would be approved with a 2-foot setback and an 18-foot variance?
I would make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good to see you as always.
And not tonight.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, there is one holdover, which has been adjourned till June. With that, is there anything else before the zoning board this evening? Sorry? Yep. Okay, we have a set of minutes here to approve, members from the April 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, I had made a couple of suggested changes to the April minutes that weren't reflected in what you just handed out. I don't know, if maybe the official version does have the changes, but, you know, with those changes, I would approve.
Okay. Vera, do you have a copy of those changes?
Yeah, probably do. I'll look at that
Okay.
and see if fix it.
Okay.
Okay. So based upon Andy's recommendations, do I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so approved. Anything else this evening? Okay, great. If there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Second. We are adjourned, and we'll see you all in June. Good night.
Good night.